I already made a video about team donor, but there's something I have been thinking about, but I'm not sure. I'm thinking, why did he learn Hebrew, the Israeli language, and also Arabic and Farsi? Like he say because they're near from each other, but why he started with Hebrew? Do you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking maybe he is actually from Israel, or maybe his parents or family from Israel. Because why did he start with Hebrew? And also it seemed like he looks a little, if you look at his look, like he could look like a normal American, but American are many nationalities. People in USA are many nationalities. So there's no specific look for an American. But if you have seen some Israeli before, he could look a little like Israeli people, like that. I'm thinking maybe his family, his parents, maybe they're from Israel, and you never know if he was living in Israel when he was younger. He could look like a guy from Israel, I'm not sure. There's something in his look that looks like Israel guy. Look, his face feature, there's something that could look like could be from Israel, but it's not sure. But I'm just saying maybe he is from Israel. That's why he know Hebrew and also a little Arabic, because in Israel there are Palestine there, and also Farsi is not far from there. So maybe he know Israel and Arabic since he is a kid, and then maybe after they moved to USA, or maybe they lived in USA from start, but he knows some Israel and Arabic from his parents, we never know. And after that maybe he learned some French in school also. That's why he know this Arabic or Israel Arabic, like Hebrew, Arabic, Farsi and French. Maybe he know from his family this Hebrew and Arabic, and then a little bit Farsi, and then after maybe from school he knows some French. Maybe after that he tried to learn few other language too, at just some beginner stuff. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe he is from Israel, we never know. I did some search about him on Google, but I could not find it. But I think there's some Israel in him. Like, I tried to search on Google, but I could not find something 100% answer about if he's from Israel or not. But I have some feeling that he might be. Timothy Donor isn't the captain of the basketball team. He's not the student council president, and he's not starring in his school play. But the 17-year-old teenager easily stands apart from the rest of his peers at school, if not the rest of the youth in America. Look here in the top, it says Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Why they want him, or why there's something about him in this kind of news from Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs? I think he is from Israel. What do you think? Teen Polyglot speaks of affinity for Hebrew. Hebrew was his first language, and then moved on to Arabic. Her donor cannot only speak Farsi fluently, but he gives blah blah blah. I think he is Israeli or something, but we don't know. They don't want. There's nothing I can find that say it 100%. Look, it says here. I had an incident of a couple of years ago at an Israeli restaurant. I was eating food with my dad, and there were a couple Israelis at the other table who were chatting Hebrew about this American Jews over there, blah blah. But why he go with his father to an Israeli restaurant? I think his father might be from Israel. I think maybe his father from Israel or his parents from Israel. I think there's something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Look here also, some results may have been removed under data protection. So there's something that they don't want to show us. I try to search, is this from Israel? I try to search if it's from Israel, but here it says that there's some data not in the search. Like they remove some of the search in the Google. They don't want people to know everything about him. Look here, team donor. A 12-year-old boy in New York City was being instructed in biblical Hebrew in preparation for his bar mitzvah. Why he have a bar mitzvah? Normal normal American don't have this bar mitzvah. Look this news here. When Timothy Donner, a 12-year-old boy in New York City, was being instructed in biblical Hebrew in preparation for his bar mitzvah. Like a normal 12-year-old American don't do a bar mitzvah. So I think he is Israeli or something. Look here, it says he was instructing biblical Hebrew in preparation for his bar mitzvah. So he made some, like, I think he is Israeli or something, I'm not sure. Look here, it says a young man by name of Timothy Donner from Manhattan, New York, whose native is gift until he was older and he started to learn Arabic for bar mitzvah. I think he is Israeli or something like that. See, it says that he started to learn Arabic for his bar mitzvah at the age of 13. So I think he might be from Israel, that's why he know Hebrew. I think he's from Israel, that's why he know Hebrew and maybe a little bit Arabic, and then he start to learn more Arabic and Farsi and something like that. I think there's something that he is like he's hiding, like maybe he is, I think there's something he's hiding. Maybe he is actually from Israel or have Israel parents. I think he's from Israel, have Israel parents or Israel father, and I think that's why he know Hebrew and maybe also a little Arabic and Farsi, and maybe in school he learned a little French or something like that. But then he would just say that he's American. He would not say that he is actually from Israel. But I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's for sure because I cannot find it. I cannot find if he's from Israel, but that's just what I'm thinking. I cannot see any information saying he's from Israel, but I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking, that he is from Israel or Israel parents, Israel family. That's why he know Israel Hebrew language and a little bit Arabic, and maybe after he also a little Farsi like that, and then maybe study a little French in school or something. That's what I'm thinking. So that's what I'm thinking. That's why he know this Hebrew and a little Arabic and a little Farsi like that. I think he is originally from Israel. I think he might be originally from Israel or Israel parents like that or Israel father. That's why he know Hebrew, language of Israel, and then a little Arabic and a little, maybe a little Farsi, but I think, I'm not sure how much Farsi he know, but I think he know Hebrew and Arabic because he's from Israel, and then of course he know English because he's living in USA, and maybe he learned a little French, and maybe after he learned a little from some other language too. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that he is actually from Israel or his parents from Israel like that.